Hey, everybody. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. I almost made it on time. 2 minutes late. That's getting better. I think at one time I was a whole day late. So 2 minutes is way better. I can deal with that. I hope you can too. Oh, Crystal's coming out with a bang today. She says, "Hey, cockroach, wink, wink." We all know who that's about. Hi, everybody. You're not going to see me on camera today, but just for a second, I'll say hi. No shame in my game. But Mr. Eve, or Toddler Eve rather, knocked over the light. And so my eyes look like demon eyes, like snake eyes. So I guess it's, I need an exorcism or something. But anyway, it's messing with me. So it's going to mess with you. So we just going to get rid of Cheer Crime with Eve right now. At least the face of it. Because we have a lot to do. I can't be distracted by my snake eyes, right? So there's a lot of cases that I want everyone to refresh in their minds because, with these cases lately with the Moscow 4 and, there's a Michael Vaughan update, which is obviously close to my heart, Summer, Oakley, these babies that need justice. We also need to start thinking about the cases that we have been waiting for a trial on. And some of those include Tristyn Bailey and Aiden Fucci. So Aiden Fucci stabbed Tristyn Bailey, bless her heart, a teenager from Florida, 114 times. And, Aiden Fucci is a definite brat, one that you would think suffers from, what is it? Not the flu, not is it affluenza? Whatever that one is. Where he suffers from being a rich little bitch because his parents didn't whoop him enough or something like that, But he decided to take it upon himself and murder this poor girl. And that is coming very soon, February 6th. So we need to start thinking about that. And I wanted to show you some things that I found on Aiden Fucci where he literally confesses to stabbing someone. And we obviously know who that is. But in prison, he threatens people all the time that they're going to get stabbed or, once they get out and he gets out, he's going to stab their entire family. I mean, these are like his fellow inmates, right? But he basically told on himself. So that whole insanity plea ain't going to work for you, boo. Because you literally admitted it to inmates. Like, I don't know how much more stupid you could be. Anyway, but there's others too. There was a potential Lena Kill sighting at the California shooting memorial. Now, I don't think that it's Lena. I don't. Lena Kill, who was missing from San Antonio, Texas, December of 2021. I don't feel like it looks like her, but, things do change over time with kids. And maybe you could tell me what you think. It has been reported and tipped in, so that is done. But maybe you could decide as well what you think, right? Hi, Jeep Girl in Brooklyn. Sassa, Frass, please, yes, hit that like button or dislike. I really don't care. Just let me know how you feel. Jeep Girl, I'm a weasel, you're a weasel, everyone is a weasel, except for the cockroaches. Now, if anybody doesn't understand this, I can't elaborate on it. It's for a specific group of people. If they don't like cockroach, they could settle for mole, right? I like that. I got some petty viewers. I love you though. So let me say hi to everybody. Hi, Heather Bratt. Thank you. Thank you. Happy Friday. Yes, Shasha. Absolutely. Miss Rubug, again, thank you for being here. Crystal, my girl. Now, where's Dope? Speaking of weasels, where's Dope? Working at her day job. Tisk tisk. Priorities. Hi, Shannon. All right, so let's get into it. The first thing that I want to actually go over before Michael Vaughan, because I can't stand not talking about any updates for Michael. There is something that Crystal, who is in chat, brought to my attention. I believe it was Crystal. Um, there were child remains found back in September of 2022 in Iron Forge, which is Carroll County, Virginia. And the area that these remains were found back up against a national forest. So I don't know if that means that the FBI would have to take over that case. I'm not really sure, but Carroll County Chief of Police did put an update out on in September, I think September 16th of 2022, but nothing was released in NAMUS until January this month. I think January 13th. So it is 2.5 hours, away from Summer Wells' house on Ben Hill. Now, when I heard about that, I was like, oh my gosh, this needs to be looked into more. And someone actually did reach out to NAMUS, which kickstarted all of this stuff, because NAMUS didn't have these child's remains and info out there. So we're going to go over the information, what the press release said back in September of 2022, and let me know what you think this might pertain to. Is it Summer potentially? Is it an older case? It's a wild ride, all right, because there's so much, there's lack of information that might match up with certain missing children, but the death index, or the PMI, which shows the estimated, not time of death, but how long the child has been deceased, it ranges so far that I don't trust it, in my opinion. And they didn't have anything but some bones, no skull or anything like that, no dental. So maybe you can help brainstorm and see who this missing child's remains might belong to. All right. Give me just 1 second. Let me pull that up. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. All right, sorry. You know how I have issues with this damn Discord. Ugh, I'm trying. It's been a year. You would think I'd understand how to work this thing. All right. So this is a post that Miss Crystal in chat found. And this was an email sent from, I'm not sure who this was, but it was someone in this group. And so it goes, good afternoon. I run a group for missing children, and I came across this picture that I'm about to show you. And I felt I should reach out to you. There's been no trace of Summer since she went missing, and to this day, no leads. So my question is this missing little girl possibly your unidentified child in this case? So I'll show you the picture that she shared here in a second. Her name is Summer Moon Wells, age 6. She's been missing from Rogersville, Tennessee since June 15th, 2021. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate your support in looking into this matter. God bless. All right. So she sends the picture of Summer, but she also sends this lady in NAMUS. You pull up NAMUS. Might as well. I think that's the wrong one. It's NAMUS.org, right? I ain't got it right. Hold on. Just search it. Hey. NAMUS. OJP. Yeah, you know me. So the OJP runs NAMUS, which is National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. All right. And so these child remains were not on there. Now, this is what this lady sent NAMUS. Picture of Summer and her FBI poster. And then where she was found, or where these child's remains were found, was in a trash can on Iron Ridge Road in Virginia. All right. 2.5 miles away from Ben Hill Road. Now, that's not too far if you think about it. It's not. You know, and I don't know if there's any connections in Virginia to any of the family members or anybody around Ben Hill Road, but it's not impossible, in my opinion, right, for her to be over there, you know, or these might be her remains. I don't know. Hi, everybody. So I'm going to take off this damn text because I can't take it. There. It's bothering me. So we're going to get into the details of the remains, all right, in here in just a second. But there isn't a lot of details. There just isn't. Now, they did get a response back from this NAMUS person. It says, thank you for your submission. We appreciate your time and support. You know, the norm. We'll review your information, da-da-da-da-da. And then here's Catherine Pope, who I've spoken to before, who would probably take on this and investigate it and all that stuff. So thank you to the person who emailed Catherine on these missing remains that have been found since 2022 in September, and now they're just getting some traction. I just think it's kind of ridiculous, in my opinion, that it takes that long. And you'll see what happened and who did not speak up on why it wasn't reported to NAMUS from Carroll County. All right. But not good. Not good at all. So here is what she sent as well. Person NAMUS 99035. Date body found was September 6, 2022. Iron Ridge Road, and I think Galax, Virginia, or somewhere near there. Estimated range, y'all, 4 to 7 years old. 4 to 7. That, to me, it's kind of like you kind of know the difference between a 4 and a 7-year-old, but not always, right? Not always. I'm going to catch up with chat really quickly because I see it going. Chatty Cathy's. Hey, Dory. I wish there was something to say that could help you, Sass. Oh, what's going on, Sass? I'm sorry for your loss, honey. I hope you're doing okay. We're here for you. Let me pull up the other stuff. I hate it when someone is struggling or suffering in my chat. I'm always here to listen if you need me or whatever you need. Reach out. So, again, estimated range 4 to 7. Estimated PMI 5 years old. And I think we looked up what PMI was, or I did, or somebody did. And let me pull it up. We have a lot of resources in our group that sleuth a lot. Hey, there it is. Postmortem index. So the time that has elapsed since the individual's death. That's what it was. Okay. So it's saying that it's been 5 years since the child was deceased. I have seen I have seen it to where in Kaylee Anthony's case, the PMI on the defense's side was way different, which is impossible, right? Because we know when she went missing and when she was found alive. The PMI was wrong. The PMI was way wrong versus, the state. I can't remember her name, something chief medical examiner. She was on a show in Florida. I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, she was right, more than likely, because we know the difference. We know what time Kaylee Anthony went missing versus allegedly when she was probably deceased that day, right? Or the next day. And to when she was found in December 11th of 2008 or 9. So we have a pretty good idea that they would be correct. So PMIs could totally be wrong. I've seen it happen in many cases. It could be less, it could be more. Elements play a factor in it, right? Conditions around the body. Did animal life get involved in that? Like, we don't know. PMI can be kind of wishy-washy to me. But anyway, it's a scientific process. I just wanted to kind of put that out there. That's what PMI stands for. Let's go to the next. Because your girl Eve has to go down the rabbit hole to the fullest degree. All right. Just the way it is. All right. Let me pull this up. NAMUS case created January 11th, 2023, Carroll County. Here is the information of the remains that NAMUS put out. Circumstances of recovery. Skeletal remains of a young child. Whoops. Sorry, hold on. Skeletal remains of a young child were found in a trash can in a wooden area. Conditions of remains. Not recognizable. Partial skeletal parts only. Which means, hey, Mr. Eve, which means that they only had a few bones here and there. They didn't have much to work with. Dr. G, medical examiner Shannon Sullivan, thank you. Yes, that one. Yeah, they can't even determine the sex of the child. Hair color, unknown. They know nothing, which is very, very sad to me. There has been remains that were sitting out for 20 years where they could tell at least something more than this. So I don't know if this poor child was burned first in this trash can. We don't know. But this is what we do know. Remnants of a 1 to 2 inch strands of straight hair, indeterminate color. Again, makes me think that this barrel that she was in, this trash can, was burned. Unknown eye color, no features. So that's very hard to determine, is this female or male? We don't know. We don't even know where to begin. Now, the only thing that was around this poor child's remains was a gray-blue sleeping bag, white blanket with pink flowers, and a Winnie the Pooh fragment of orange and pink cloth. That's it. And let me tell you, we tried to find this darn Winnie the Pooh blanket for hours. All right. So let me see if what we found. I can't remember what we found. Too much. Yeah. We have over 40 pictures of Winnie the Pooh blankets here. And we're not going to know which one it is, but there is a picture of the blanket that's kind of blown up. It's not nasty. There isn't anything gory on here. It's just dirty. Carol News. Let's just go to Carol News. See if they put the picture out. All right, so there's the blue sleeping bag right here. And then this little cloth, I guess, that looks like a part of a Winnie the Pooh blanket. I think we found it. I'm going to be honest with you, but I don't want to put out bad speculation if it's not true. Right? So a citizen found these remains, all right, in the Iron Ridge area of the county. Map time. You know I love map time. Brooklyn says, we realized that Winnie the Pooh was clothing. Right. Remind me to get on Eve about checking chat more often. Girl, I'm telling you. So you think that Winnie the Pooh was like a shirt or a dress or something? Hi, Margaret. Good to see you. I don't know. I thought it looked like a blanket too, Shannon. I did. The blanket was white with pink flowers. The Winnie the Pooh was clothing. Okay, so it was separate. And that makes sense, actually, because you would probably have clothing on. And you know who I thought of immediately? Was Harmony Montgomery. So I you know that I talked to the mother of Harmony on occasion. I've never blasted her personal information or what she shared unless we had a tip to send to law enforcement about Adam. But the one thing that I did ask her was, did she like Winnie the Pooh? And she did when she was younger. Now, I don't know if there were Winnie the Pooh items in, the house, but 5 years of an approximate PMI, and let's just say there was a Winnie the Pooh blanket or shirt or whatever it is. It's possible. It's possible that it could be Harmony. And I don't know how neglected. I mean, we know that poor girl was neglected, but it's 2023, right? 2022 was when the remains were found. She was probably murdered right after Thanksgiving in 2019. So that's about 3 years. That's not too far off from 5. I would say 3 to 5 is probably a decent PMI index. But Virginia from, Massachusetts and Rhode Island, and where is he from? Not Rhode Island. I'm sorry. Where Harmony Montgomery was living at the time with Adam. That's not too far off, but it's also really far out of the way. I would think that they would have caught them going to Virginia to dump remains. They would know, right? Brooklyn says, I don't blame her, Crystal. It's short days and long nights. Yep. Oakley, maybe we should email them for both girls. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, Crystal, to just, I'm sure NAMUS is on it. NAMUS probably puts out these statements through all law enforcement. I'm pretty sure they get these updates, but it wouldn't hurt to at least tip off maybe the chief of police or the tip line, right? And actually, you know who I also thought of? I know this is a very far-fetched idea, but maybe, I don't know, maybe, what was her name? This little girl, she went missing around, was it Florida or Georgia? Was it Kaleesi? Remember that little girl, Kaleesi, 3 years old, that went missing and her parents got charged with her murder, but they never found her? I just thought of that. So let's go into maps. Iron Ridge, Virginia. I think it is Galax, Virginia. Now, there is a 20-year-old case, horrific case, of a missing boy who his parents went to jail for his murder. He was burned before he was disposed of, but they never found him either. And we're going to go into that because there could be a possibility that, it could be him too. So they said that Iron Ridge Road is where they found the remains. All right. That's a pretty long way because Iron Ridge goes far. Right. Zoom out. And it backs up into this very treesy area. A lot of mountainous treesy areas over here. And I'm thinking that maybe they found this poor child's remains somewhere over here. All right. That's just what I have a feeling about. So, what did the police say? Let's take a look-see. It says investigators with the Carroll County Sheriff's Office reported at the time of the discovery that emergency responders received a call from a citizen that they believed they had found human remains. Sheriff Kevin Kemp said the evidence was sent to the office of the state medical examiner in Roanoke for analysis in Roanoke, Virginia. And the police had released no further information since last September. All right. So the NAMUS reports city's findings from the chief medical examiner's office. So they obviously sent it off for testing. And obviously what I just said, not recognizable. There's not much to the remains. We already went over the PMI, Gray sleeping bag, Winnie the Pooh fragment of orange and pink cloth located near the body, and a white blanket with pink flowers. Neither police nor NAMUS speculated about who the remains belonged to, so they didn't have any idea either. Virginia Missing noted in a comment under their post about the report that the child would likely have died around 2017 if the PMI is accurate. And I like that they said that because it has been an issue before, like I said. What did Barbie say? Oh my gosh, Michael Vaughan was found. No. You know he hasn't been. Shannon says, Crystal, do you mind asking which case you're talking about? Is it something in the media currently? Oh, I found another case for you today as well. Oh, one heartbreaking case at a time, ma'am. I can only take so much. I know, it's very sad. So if the PMI is accurate, that's kind of scary. Investigators with the Carroll County Sheriff's Office confirmed that additional DNA results regarding the case are still pending. And if you have any information, obviously call Carroll County Sheriff's Office at this number here. According to the website, we already know that. So let's look at the press release for this. It should be here. Again, that's just so heartbreaking. This was found with the body, with the remains. Now, I said that this body could have been burned in that trash can, right? But this isn't burned, right? So maybe not. Maybe wildlife really just got into the remains. And this poor child was just in the trash can at the time, and then it was removed out of it, right? A little bit. Maybe, I don't know. It's Virginia. There's a lot of wildlife out there. I wouldn't, even want to be alive out there in the Virginia wilderness. I don't. I've heard horror stories about like those mountain lions and all that stuff. So, okay. So it finally published on, again, January 11th that the remains were human. They didn't even know if they were human yet, which is really sad. I'm looking to see if they have an actual press release. What I do know is that when the chief was asked, why don't we have an update? Why did it take so long? They basically said nothing. They had nothing. Nothing at all. And that's really, really hurtful to me that it wasn't worth enough time to update the public or at least do an on-interview release with local news. Nothing. It was just an article, a blip. And so here's some of the speculation that I have. All right. The Kaleesi child that was missing, goodness, I think it was 2017, 18, which makes sense. Maybe it's her. Let me pull her up. Sorry, guys. Can you hear me? My microphone went out. Can y'all hear me? Put a one in the chat. Okay, good. I don't know what the hell happened. Sorry. All right. We're going to get off of this here in just a second. I just wanted to show you some of the possibilities because I think that people need to start talking about this and sharing this. Speculate, do whatever you got to do. Because this is how cold cases stay cold. This is especially when you don't have enough information. But somebody might know a child that had a white blanket with flowers on it and a Winnie the Pooh shirt. Like somebody might just know that amount of information, you know? Okay, why are we doing this? Just been brutal today. Kaleesi Cuthriel. Does anybody remember her case? Let's take a listen.
County girl Kaleesi Cuthriel would have been celebrating her 5th birthday on Monday. Investigators presume her to be dead. Now some people around the valley plan to honor her this weekend. The little girl was last seen months before she was officially reported missing.
WHSV's Kayla Brooks checked in with one person who continues to raise awareness of Kaleesi's disappearance.
Police have said Candy Royer and Travis Brown were taking care of Kaleesi Cuthriel in late 2020, early 2021. Now the two are facing charges of child abuse, concealing a dead body, and homicide. There have been very few updates to Kaleesi's case since last year. When she was reported missing, we learned that she was last seen in February 2021 after being placed in Royer and Brown's care. Just a few weeks after she was reported missing,
Now, I wanted you to kind of think about what they found.
law enforcement officers.
Let me go back. Sorry.
Law enforcement report.
Right here. So, cloth with, flowers, maybe. Maybe is it this? Is that orange cloth that Winnie the Pooh? Is it one of these things back here? I don't know. Right? But we do know that the parents were involved. All right. So this is what made me think about Kaleesi, because I was thinking about missing children around that area. Now, yes, she went missing in 2021. They think that she was missing a lot before that, a lot longer. But potentially, what do you guys think?
Just a few weeks after she was reported missing, law enforcement officers said they believe the girl is dead. Community members have rallied to share Kaleesi's story, hoping to prevent anything like this from happening again.
When I first heard her story, I just felt like there was a lot of people that didn't care about her. And I just feel like God placed her in my heart. And then I felt like the least I could do was to try to, get her story heard and advocate for her.
Erin Landis is one of a group who have planned a birthday party this weekend in her honor. We'll have more details on our website. Both Royer and Brown are expected to appear in court next year.
Which was
Candy
the parents.
Royer is scheduled to be in court May 8th.
Anyway, so there's one potential. Now there's another potential that I thought about. And actually, Dope, who is one of the members, thank you for being a member and a friend. There is, okay, so it's a 20-year-old case from Galax, which is where this Iron Ridge location is, where they found the remains. Logan Nathaniel Bowman. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I have a hard time stomaching this case at all. So I'm not even going to go into the details. This boy was so abused. I can't even begin to tell you how bad this case is. It breaks my heart every time. But he was allegedly probably burned before his remains were discarded. He had broken teeth, broken bones. Whew, it was really bad. Mother, called a month later to report this boy missing. He was 5 years old. Now, he's a boy. I don't see a boy having, typical female Winnie the Pooh things, but sometimes with abused children who don't get to eat, who don't get to have any games, sometimes maybe that's all they had. We don't know. But the problem is that the PMI is way different, right? So missing since 2003 versus 2017 estimation of PMI, that's a big difference. And I would think that the sleeping bag and all of those other things found would have been completely degraded way more than they were. But I don't know. They were covered up by a trash can potentially. Was there a lid on the trash can? We don't know. But maybe. So I'm hoping that at least police could, if somebody could reach out in my group or maybe even myself and see, what if it's him? We don't know. What if people were coming back to the crime scene that know outside of the family? There's so many possibilities that you can't just disregard it because of the information. So, yeah, I'm not even going to go into this horrible. I'll cry. Not today. So it could be that. Could be maybe Summer Wells, right? Let's just recap on Summer. Went missing June 15th, 2021. It's only a year and some change from the estimated, death of 5 years. But elements in the South it hits different, y'all. I mean, Virginia, it gets humid and then it snows and then it dries up and it's hot as Hades. It's just, it hits different. Like Florida, can make you look like you've been deceased for years and you were out there just for a season or two. As unfortunate as that sounds, I mean, that's just the truth. And the wildlife makes a difference. So yeah, Shannon, the Logan case is too much. Hey, Blue and Gold. So could it be Summer? Potentially. We need to get more information from Carroll County Sheriff, NAMUS, and anybody that's involved, maybe the FBI, to get these remains, to do more testing. Maybe alert law enforcement around Virginia, everywhere. Yeah, Mystery Bug Brian Laundrie, for example, perfect example. And there was no skull with the remains that were found in Virginia. All right. So just some possibilities. If somebody out there could just please call your local law enforcement, if you could think of anything, if you're around that area, or if you know of a missing 4 to 7-year-old that had Winnie the Pooh items in a gray blue sleeping bag that they slept in, or somebody in the family had, reach out to your local law enforcement. So now Michael Vaughan. There has been an update. Actually, I'm going to pull it up from my Discord. Hold on. Yesterday. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's a little disappointing, in my opinion, because it really doesn't give a lot of context as Fruitland PD does with Michael Vaughan's case. All right, let's just read it. I'm going to try not to talk too much on this. I'm just going to get through it. Fruitland Police Department continues to investigate the abduction of 5-year-old Michael Vaughan. At this stage in the investigation, investigators are working to validate information and follow up on new information we have received as a result of the last press conference. During the search warrant service at 1102 Red Wing, investigators recovered several pieces of evidence. Some of those pieces have been sent to a private DNA lab for further analysis. Okay. We'll get into that. That process will take time, and we are patiently waiting for results. This investigation is multifaceted and will take time to bring to a conclusion. Yeah, we know that. We've been waiting. And the family's been waiting. And everyone who cares has been waiting. But I digress. Our partnerships with assisting agencies are strong, and we continue to work closely with the Payette County prosecutor. We continue to ask for the community's patience as we pursue justice for Michael. The Fruitland Police Department is extremely grateful for the community support and all of those who have had the courage to bring new information forward. Tips can be sent to FPD. Tipsters may remain anonymous, etc., that you see on the screen. Future updates will be released on this page as they are available. Now, there's something that I want to kind of hone in on. Of course, it's going to be the DNA. My question is, why be sent to a private DNA lab? And that's just some of those pieces of evidence. Again, investigators recovered several pieces of evidence. I want to remind everyone that J.D. Huff said Michael's remains have not been found. So to me, I am disregarding remains from evidence. Now, there could be pieces of something related to Michael Vaughan, maybe a shirt, maybe a piece of plastic from his toy, maybe a rock. I don't know. We don't know. Maybe he painted rocks, or there was a painted rock that he had with him that he grabbed from the house. Who knows? But what I can say is that maybe those little pieces of evidence have to go to a private lab because of the degradation of the evidence, and it needs a specific type of testing. But I would think that Fruitland PD would at least consult with 3 people or 3 groups: FBI, state police, and the Cold Case Foundation. The Cold Case Foundation, which is Chris McDonough and a bunch of other, it's not just Chris, it's a bunch of people that obviously went to help with Michael Vaughan's case. Chris McDonough being one of those team members. And I was looking around the Cold Case Foundation website. Let's just go there. So you can see for yourself what some of these people do. And a lot of it is consultation, right? It's investigative consultants. I don't think that they can do much else unless, they have permission to do so. They have the authority to do so. But from what I'm understanding, it's consulting work. There is a crime analysis consultant, or a few, excuse me. And I believe, was it Jennifer Thompson or Dana? Hold on a second. I can't remember who it was. Was it Jennifer? No. Karen? It was one of these. Anyway, there is somebody that does genealogy, DNA. That's what their experience and expertise is in, and they probably had something to do with that. Maybe it's DNA to connect the dots back to Michael, right? Which kind of comes to your mind, like, okay, if they're needing that kind of specific evidence, and this is just hypothetical, this is not truth, this is just speculation. If they're needing it to go to a very specific private lab, well, wouldn't they have already had Michael's DNA set? They should have already had his DNA. So what is this? What's going on with that? That's just my thoughts. I also had a thought of, okay, the state and or the FBI has resources available for testing. So because Chief JD Huff said some of the pieces have been sent to a private DNA lab. Some of the pieces. I don't know what pieces means. I don't know if that's just stuff in the dirt. I don't know if I don't know what that is. But if that stuff had to be sent to a private DNA lab, I feel like it's going to be human remains. Some kind of remains. Not bones, not anything like that, but because they think that Michael was buried there and then moved, I guarantee, I have a strong feeling that this is sifting through the dirt and seeing if that has decomp in it. Does that make sense? Or it could be bones, right? But they said they did not find remains, but you know what you could find in that dirt, right? Because they said that the dogs hit on scent. Michael's scent specifically is what they said. So are they trying to get decomp evidence of Michael? And in the state of Idaho, a dog hitting on decomp has been used as evidence in probable cause and discovery. It didn't have to be their remains. They didn't have to prove that. They just used it as evidence that that's what the dogs picked up on. At the time, I don't think they had enough forensic, technology to decipher if it was the actual victim's decomp. But they have used it as evidence, and that's kind of scary to me. That's extremely scary because you don't know if somebody, you don't know if that was actually that person. There could be another victim. It could just be a hot mess express. Hey, Tails. So I was very concerned about this. And I just kind of want, not that I deserve it or anyone deserves it except for immediate loved ones of Michael, but why a private lab? If we'd asked, they'd say, Eve, got to protect the integrity of the investigation here. Can't answer those questions. Right? Like, as if they'd talk to me anymore. But, weird. And then they go to say, we're assisting agencies are strong and we continue to work closely with the Payette County prosecutor. They're building a case. Here's where it goes squirrely with me. I find it very, very scary to only have someone like Stacy Wondra held on a unrelated charge, a felony gun charge, right? while they're building a case, put their faces out there. You got Sarah Wondras, yipping and yapping crazily about God told me Stacy did it and Adrian did it and da-da-da-da-da. How long are you going to be able to hold her, right, until she can get out of jail because you don't got the evidence? You're saying it's going to take some time. If they were involved, which that's what JD have said, we believe that they are directly involved in the, or have direct knowledge, of the abduction and death of Michael. All right. What if they actually did? And I have a feeling that the only thing that one of them may be guilty of is knowledge they didn't actually know they had. Now, what do you mean by that, Eve? What I mean is that I think that they are people who get taken advantage of for their social and mental shortcomings. And I think that people take advantage of that. And I think that someone around them that knows the family of Michael Vaughan took advantage of that. That's what I think. You could see it if you study them enough. And believe me, I have. And we have a lot of information that not everybody has about, how Stacy Wander grew up. He was in a lot of institutions for handicap. He was beaten in one of them. It's awful, some of the things that happened. This was before Michael. So Sarah Wondra had a lot of trauma with SA abuse. Her mother died at 6. And I'm not saying this is an excuse. I'm just telling you, if you want to know how someone is in their mind, guilty or not, you need to study them. You need to look and see where they're coming from. And Sarah Wondra has a whole ass TikTok and Facebook that tells you about it. And I'm worried that if they did have something to do with it, it's going to either be too late when the evidence comes back, right? Or you got the wrong people. So I just really hope they know what they're doing, because it's been very, very hard to trust the process. I know, and I do trust, Fruitland PD to an extent. But it's been almost 2 years if you think about it in 5.5 months or 5 months. It's scary. There's not a lot to go on. Now, I have something very interesting that I want you to know. I did get some information from Payette County, and they do involve 911 call logs. All right. And you remember when we went over 2021 calls? The last time we went live, 2022 was off the chain at the beginning. When I tell you the Wanderers called the cops on any and everything they could, they did. Like that, they were like besties, I'm sure, with Fruitland at one point, because that's how many times they called. Now, I don't know if the Wanderers were on the radar before April 2022 when the felony gun charges were put on Stacy and May. I don't know. But what I can say is that you would think Fruitland PD would have been on their ass and dogs would have hit on the scent of Michael Vaughan way before now. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree, put a 2 if you don't, or 3 if you don't know. But I just feel like, why did it take this long? What was the call? What was the tip in from inside the home that made you think it was somebody involved? The 4 that we saw, especially the Wondras. I just don't see it. I don't. But that's just my opinion. What if it was somebody around the Wondras You got to remember that Sarah and Stacy were in jail from like April to July bare minimum. Stacy's still in jail from last year. Sarah got out in July. What happened in between April of 2022 and July of 2022 in the backyard of Sarah and Stacy Wondras' house? Did somebody go back there that was around them that knew about Michael? Did someone take advantage of that? Potentially. Because now you're sitting here in November of 2022 and there's a whole ass excavation in the backyard. What tip went out? And why did it take until November of 2022 to get a search warrant in that backyard? Yeah, they had roommates, but they already talked to two of them. Now, we do know that there's two people that Brandon Shurtliff talked about in the JLR interview that he did on Brandon. There's a Tanner and a Cesar Garrido. Now, we're waiting on that. His Cesar Garrido's court date has been pushed ahead. It was supposed to happen, I think, this month, and it's pushed to either February or March. I don't have it in front of me right now. And the Tanner guy, we don't even know. Like, we don't know the full story. I'm still looking at that. But maybe that's who they're waiting on. And how are they connected? How are they connected? I mean, if we're going to be honest here, if we're going to throw Brandon Shurtliff under the bus, when Fruitland police already talked to Brandon Shurtliff in, I think, North or South Dakota, wherever he was, 3 weeks before they put his whole ass face on the news, you know, why didn't they arrest him for the charge that he has in Payette, an outstanding warrant? They didn't. They didn't. What if they were just needing a reassurance from Brandon and Adrian? Are you sure these people were the ones that were staying at that house when Michael disappeared? The Caesar and the Tanner guy. Maybe. It's very hard to say. But they don't have any evidence to arrest them, and that's scary to put out their faces with no charges. The bully tactic, in my opinion. It's forcing the hand of people to either talk about something or just throw them under the bus. They don't care. Police don't care. I've seen them do way worse than that. It's just very odd, and I hope that they get it together here. They got to be transparent more with the public. You can only just tell people, be patient, when people don't know if there are kidnappers and trafficking rings in Payette County waiting to snatch your child up, which may never be found because of inadequacies and egos in the police department. I said what I said. So that's all I've got. I wish I had more. I wish they had found Michael alive and well. I wish that they had charges against people who actually know exactly where he is and what happened to him. I really do. I wish I could say that, but I can't. Please let me know what you think in the comments below if you're watching the replay, because I can be wrong. I have been wrong. Below-Daybell, real quick. I wanted to tell her, I'm not even going to put her face up here because I just hate the woman so much. She's trying to get the trial dismissed in its entirety because she didn't get a right to a speedy trial. The judge said, "You're funny. You were the one that did that and your defense team. Bugger off." So that was denied. She's not getting a mistrial because of a lack of a speedy trial. They did that to themselves on the defense side. So the defense and the prosecutors are supposed to work together, and the defense wants to do this whole, is she fit for trial for a whole year and a half? So, Lori, sit down. And you're looking old. You're looking rough and old. And I said it too. I'll say it again. Oh, and Chad Daybell allegedly didn't even look at Lori during that hearing. didn't even look at her. And I hope that hurt. I do. Shouldn't have hurt your children. And your wife, Chad. My God, there's so much murder around the Daybells. It's insane. Aiden Fucci. He is the one that stabbed poor Tristyn Bailey 114 times. Now, I read a part in one of the documents that 108 of those stab wounds would not have been fatal, which in my mind, I'm like, excuse me? You're telling me 108 stab wounds is not fatal? But then I read again, and 108 back to back that way, yes, it is fatal. But unfortunately, you know, those 6 were the 6 stabbings. All right. And that's what ended her life. And it's very, very hard to think about that happening to a 15-year-old girl, a 13-year-old girl, excuse me. But yep, he's telling people in the jail that he is going to stab them when he gets out. Joke's on you, fool. You're not getting out. Ever. He hits other inmates. They punch back. But then that's when he starts threatening like the little bitch that he is. And then here Fucci states, I ain't no snitch, when he asks why he didn't inform the officer about being bullied and extorted. Oh, okay. What a outstanding fella here. So I hope that, you know, he gets the death penalty. I know that that's very unheard of with young, you know, perpetrators, but I do. I'm a firm believer in if you harm someone in that way or harm children in any way, straight to the 6 foot under. That's just me. Maybe I'm a little harsh. I don't know. All right. So there was one more case that I wanted to talk about. Athena Brownfield. Whew. Lord help me, Jesus. That one was hard. They have confirmed Athena Brownfield's remains that were found on the property of the quote unquote caretakers in Oklahoma. It's just one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever heard. Of specifically how they did it, how he hurt her. And I don't want to, you know, bring the mood down here because we're about to wrap up, but it was brutal, y'all. She suffered. She suffered. And he needs to suffer too. And I feel like his informant-ass wife needs to suffer as well. I feel like just because you told on somebody doesn't mean that you get freebies because you knew about that girl's death. Now, they do have a gag order, so we can't look at the other details of the investigation. I've tried to get those records, and they actually told me no, like, mm-mm. But Vaughan Adams has been, you know, charged with murder, and I feel like Alyssa Adams should be too. And I'm waiting for those charges. All she's charged with is child abuse and neglect. But I really hope that those charges come soon because she is just as culpable. And she went out and lived her best life with him on Facebook and TikTok. Girl, bye. Off with their heads. All right, guys, thank you for staying with me and being patient. I am going to be here more and more. Me and Mr. Eve have been busy. I've been a little sick, but I'm back this time, I promise. You can't miss a $300,000 job opportunity. So that's where I've been, but I'm back. Everything's kosher. Content's coming. Thank you for being patient and being here with me. Much love to you. You know, as I say, drink your water, hug yourself, your babies, your fur babies. Let's be a voice for the missing. Thank you for being a part of True Crime with Eve. Have a wonderful week ahead. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you on the flip side. Bye, guys. Thank you.